Hello folks, welcome to Legacy IAS. In today's video, we'll be looking into the topic where who were the foreign travelers who visited India during the ancient part of time, okay, or ancient India, okay. Now, we will segregate this video based on timeline and from which place do they belong. Now, let's get into the video. Now, foreign travelers, foreign diplomats, foreign embassy, all this we have seen even in present times. Yeah, today we still have embassy, we have ambassadors. Basically, the role that today's ambassadors, what do you think they're playing? Now, this is a video recording. We're seeing a video, but still, just try out giving the answers. We'll make it as interactive as possible. Okay. What do you think is the role of these day ambassadors, envoys, okay, or your embassies present elsewhere? What role do they perform? I'm hoping you just answered it. Okay, let me just get back to that. Now, the role are foreign ministers, foreign ambassadors, envoys, diplomats, everything they do is they represent India's interest. If anything is to transpire between two countries, okay, that will be done by these ambassadors, okay. Now, they will become the mouthpiece of India or mouthpiece of India's decision, okay. The same thing, alright, the same thing was done by diplomats, rather we just call them as foreign travelers, okay, who would represent their countries or their kingdoms or their region interest, okay, in a particular place. For example, we have our ambassadors who travel to different countries, who grasp how the education system works there, one such example, and they will bring it back to India, try to see which part of that can be implemented in India. Alright. Similarly, they'll also, in the ancient times, they also visit multiple places, see which is good about that, which they can involve and which they can bring it about to their place, their country, okay? Basically a betterment, alright? This is nothing but an influx of ideas. We share our ideas, we share our ideals, we see what is new here, how is it prospering, how is that particular place prospering, how can I bring it back to my place, how can my place prosper, okay. All this influx, intermediate, alright, the ideas get exchanged through these diplomats or through these foreign travelers. Now, India is a land of diversity, okay. If India is a land of diversity, which means we would have had multiple people wanting to know about the diversity and how are we, okay, how are we as a country sustaining. Alright, now we are speaking about a time which is ancient India, right. At that point of time, the entire geographical concept of India as today was very different from what it was at that point of time. But still, okay, it was called the land of Indus, seven rivers. Basically, this geographical mass was called with different names. But one thing this geographical mass had in common was diversity, alright, religion, okay, our uniqueness, okay, in education, alright. Now, by education, we mean, see, we had multiple religions in the form of Buddhism, Jainism, Hinduism, etc. This religion, okay, along with that, okay, when they impart the education, that becomes unique because each one, okay, etc. Okay, each one of the religions had different versions, okay, had different ways of embodying the truths, right. When that was conveyed to people, okay, that was conveyed to a set of students, set of monks, it became an educational institution. One such example is your Nalanda, alright. Now, all these things was unique to people of other places. They were very eager to come, okay, they were very eager to come here, see what is happening, how so many religions are getting born here, alright, and how can I utilize it in my place. And if they are very much inspired by any of these religions, they're more than welcome to come here, learn about these, okay. You've seen instances where multiple Chinese monks will come here, study at Nalanda University, go back, teach there, teach the, see at that point of time the language, for example, your Buddhist texts, alright, they were initially written in Pali language, right. Then in a later phase of time, it was also written in Sanskrit language, Yeah. Now we have multiple Chinese travelers who will come to India, who will study, stay in India, travel throughout the world. In Nalanda, they'll learn about Pali, Sanskrit, and then they will translate it to their language, for example, Chinese, and take those sources book home. Okay, that also the sources, now whatever we say, or the books that just did not contain about the Buddhist books, but also our social culture, religious life at that point of time in India. Okay, so when we say India was like this at this point of time, it is because of the innumerable sources that we have based on these book sources or manuscripts. Okay, so why did these travelers visit India is almost the same, okay, if not in a different version of how our diplomats, how our ministries, how our embassies operate in other countries. Alright, like we discussed, we will do it in part wise, okay, based on timeline and from places. Okay, so there is a part 2 for this video. Please do watch that. Alright, let's enter in. First, we'll look into the Greek travelers. Okay, Greek foreign travelers who visited India. What point of time did they visit, and during whose period? Okay, and did they have any significant book or something written that still has any account to it? Okay, the first one is your Megasthenes. Now, when we say Megasthenes, we are obviously related to Mauryan Empire, right? Even this word has to ring this bell. Megasthenes, Mauryan. Okay, this should become easier to remember. See, one thing about these Greek ambassadors and Mauryan is that who are the most three prominent Mauryan kings? Chandragupta, yeah, Bindusara, and Ashoka. Yes. Now we have all these three great kings, and all the three, okay, had Greek ambassadors visiting. Okay, the first one was Megasthenes during the period of Chandragupta Maurya. The timeline is 302 to 298 BC. Okay, now he is very much known for his book Indica, or Megasthenes Indica, in which he has entailed about the administration, about Mauryan times, okay, the religious aspect, okay, and then most important stress has been laid to the administrative aspect. Okay, now when we say Mauryans were like this, administration was like this, art was like this, architecture was like this, one prime important source, okay, one of the important sources being Megasthenes Indica. Alright, this is what the foreign travelers bring about for India as well as the improvement for their respective countries. Alright, next one. Look at this. Demarcus, okay, another Greek foreign traveler who visited India during the Mauryan period, okay, during the reign of Bindusara. Okay, look at this, Bindusara. Alright, next one. Dionysius, same, Greek ambassador during the period of Mauryas. Here it is Ashoka. Alright, now Greek ambassadors or the foreign travelers, what we call, they have had immense benefits. Okay, in what way? First thing, see, the kings associated with them, okay, they have been exposed to the wide culture of Buddhism. Okay, that has been even mentioned in Ashokan edicts. Okay, so if one thing that was served, okay, by their visit is that Buddhism further spread. Okay, Buddhism further spread. When we say Ashoka, right, we can call Ashoka in two phases, is pre-Kalinga, post-Kalinga. Yes, pre-Kalinga pe the conquest Ashoka did was territorial. Okay, territorial conquest. Post Kalinga, whatever Ashoka did, it was cultural conquest. Okay, now for this cultural conquest, one of the section was prime or very important. Those were these ambassadors or foreign travelers. This has become an important relationship between the two countries, and in spreading of religion, in spreading of knowledge, in spreading of education, administration, etc. Next is Ptolemy. Okay, he is another Greek foreign traveler who visited to India, wrote more about the geographical features of India. Alright, his book is called The Geography of India. Okay, next. Now let's look at the Chinese foreign travelers. Alright, now all these are from different timelines. Alright, but we are clubbing them under the regions. Okay, now Huansang, you have heard of this very much. Okay, at least in history. Okay, now again, remembering this is pretty easy. Huansang, Harsha, H. Okay, simple tricks to remember it here and there. Now, where was Megasthenes for? I mean, whose court was he the ambassador? He came as Maurya. Okay, this rule doesn't apply every time, but where it is applicable, just utilize it. Alright, now this person, see, one thing about Chinese foreign travelers which applies to a very large body irrespective of the timeline is that, see, one thing is the path they traveled. Okay, nothing but your Silk Route. At times, it's not applicable to all, but they utilize the Silk Route, which opened up a new path. Okay, which opened up a new path for India and China. One of the ways. Also, we have seen multiple instances where there have been thefts. Okay, where the window coities, where people will try to stay here just so that they can rob the monks who will be carrying precious Buddha idols, silks, gemstones of India, etc. Right? Because this route was popular because monks kept traveling from this route. Alright? This route since times immemorial till now, okay, it has always had some impact. Okay? And now they are trying to regain that impact. Alright? Now, one thing with Silk Route we spoke about. One more thing is these Chinese monks, okay, or pilgrims. What were they most importantly visiting India for? One is a religious factor. Okay, Buddhism. They wanted to see the land where Buddha was giving his sermon, his Bodhgaya tree. Okay, where majority of works, okay, India is a land where majority of Buddhist works were there, like we discussed in the beginning of the video, where see Buddhist texts were written in Sanskrit and Pali. So they used to come here just to learn these new languages so that they could translate it into their respective languages, take it back. Okay, these were considered the most richest treasures rather than your physical gemstones. Alright, these were considered the richest treasures. Thus, that will prevail, that will tell us the timeline of how India was at that period of time, which kingdom was there, okay, how was the administration at that point of time. See, we say Huansang and we also say that during the reign of Harshavardhana. Right? Now, this particular foreign accounts will give us a wide, ample scope of how India was, and that also serves as a major boost for China also, because they get an innumerable, invaluable, okay, rich source of scripture in the form of Buddhism. Okay, now see here, they came to India for practicing Buddhist rituals, practices, beliefs. Okay, at one point of time we say rituals. You know how Buddhism got associated with certain rituals and all. Okay, different phases of Buddhism. Alright, so everything will be included if we say Buddhism. Okay, then your Huansang was called as Prince of Pilgrims. Alright, now obviously, as you know by the name pilgrimage, he went on visited multiple places related to Buddha, not just Buddha, anything associated with it. Okay, then during the reign of Harshavardhana, he came to visit, studied at the University of Nalanda. As I mentioned earlier, they all came, studied at Nalanda. That was a wide place where a lot of people, okay, Nalanda was more secular in nature. Students from all units were admitted. Okay, timeline is 630 to 645 AD. Alright, he wrote a book, okay, or that is also called as Records of Western World. Okay, let's move on. Next, Fahim, he visited during the period of 405 to 411. Okay, now his reign was during Chandragupta II period. Okay, now he provides a rich, ample source of evidence. Fahim, okay, Chandragupta II administration, okay, how exactly the administration was. The detailed account is provided by Fahim. Okay. Now he was a huge of traveler. Today, if we travel somewhere, we make vlogs, yeah, video logs. Similarly, this person had something called as travel logs. Okay, his travel log is called as a record of Buddhist kingdoms. Okay, apparently they also were travel logging. So the next being I Sing from China. Okay, 671 to 695 AD. Alright. Now look at this one thing I want you to importantly observe. Studied Sanskrit. Yeah, as we discussed earlier, we started studying new language, which means, see, with them studying Sanskrit, a new language, they were not just using that, or they just didn't have access to study only the text of Buddhist. They had wide ample resources. Now they could study Sanskrit scriptures of other religions too. That opened them up to new avenues. Alright, with this they started doing a lot of translation works. Okay, the translation works doesn't necessarily mean only Buddhist texts. Anything that gauged their interest, okay, that all they translated to their language and took it back to their hometown. Alright, with this added richness to both India as well as to the home country. Okay. Also, if you like our videos, do subscribe to our channel and share it along with your friends. Thank you.